It started with 12 words that shook an entire nation. By the direct order of His Majesty King Charles III, the royal titles of Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and their children shall be withdrawn effective immediately. Those words exploded across British television screens this morning, October 28, 2025. For a moment, there was only silence, the kind that follows a thunderclap. Britain froze, the world watched, and suddenly, the monarchy's long-held calm was gone. Just hours before, the BBC cut into its morning broadcast. The anchor's voice trembled as she read the decree. Across London, the city seemed to hold its breath. Across the Atlantic, news tickers flashed red, announcing a royal decision that many had thought impossible. King Charles had finally acted, and the repercussions would echo for decades. The story didn't begin today. It began 5 years ago, the moment Harry and Meghan chose independence over tradition. They stepped away from royal duty and built a world full of podcasts, deals, interviews, and cameras. Buckingham Palace tried to maintain silence, but whispers and headlines kept coming. Over time, the quiet tension grew into something explosive, and behind the palace walls, Charles clung to hope that reconciliation was still possible. But the breaking point came quietly, almost imperceptibly. In mid-October, Meghan's new lifestyle brand, Duchess of Sussex Enterprises, was registered in California. For Charles, this wasn't just a minor misstep. It violated a 2020 agreement with the late Queen Elizabeth II. Meanwhile, Archie and Lilibet were being introduced publicly at charity galas as Prince Archie and Princess. Lilibet, it wasn't personal, it was principle, the crown. Integrity was at stake, and the king could no longer wait. Inside Buckingham Palace, the atmosphere was tense, almost funeral-like. Charles consulted Princess Anne and Prime Minister Keir Starmer, both urging action. Camilla pleaded for restraint, warning that removing the titles would be irreversible. But Charles, weary and pale, responded simply, "I lost them years ago." Behind those walls, history was being rewritten. The decision was made, the paperwork drafted, and by October 28th, the decree was ready. On the evening of October 27th, Charles walked the gardens of Sandringham alone, the cold October moon casting long shadows. He stopped near a pond, where he used to feed birds with Harry, standing quietly for minutes that felt like hours. That night, he signed the order that would change royal history forever. Anne and William witnessed the moment. Camilla, unable to watch, excused herself, tears in her eyes. The weight of duty had collided with the weight of heartbreak. The next morning, the news leaked and chaos followed. In California, Harry and Meghan were photographed at a charity gala, smiling, oblivious to the storm about to hit. 8:45 a.m., BBC journalists were asking for confirmation. Within the hour, the Sussex household was in turmoil. Calls were made, questions unanswered, statements prepared. But the royal decree had already gone out. There was no turning back. Across London, hundreds gathered outside Buckingham Palace. Some waved Union Jack flags. Others held signs reading, "Protect the crown and family, not fame," or "Forgive Harry." Public opinion split sharply. Retired army veterans, journalists, and ordinary citizens debated whether the king's decision was justice or cruelty. Across the Atlantic, media outlets in New York and Los Angeles covered the story non-stop. Social media exploded with hashtags, "Certo Justice for Sussex," "Protect the Crown." The world had become a global courtroom overnight. Inside the palace, the tone was quiet, resolute, and somber. Charles withdrew to Sandringham, accompanied only by Anne and his secretary. Camilla returned to Windsor, too emotional to face the press. William, stepping into a new leadership role, prepared the official statement. Service is not a title. It is an act of loyalty and gratitude. It must be lived, not claimed. Those words were simple, yet piercing. The monarchy was defending itself, but at a personal cost that few could fully understand. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan's world in California began to contract out. Media coverage grew cautious. Streaming deals faced renegotiation. Sponsors hesitated. Friend in Hollywood described the atmosphere as shell-shocked. For the first time, the couple seemed subdued. The crown's silence had spoken louder than any statement they could release. The reality of being cut off from a legacy of both privilege and purpose was sinking in, slowly, painfully, and irrevocably. But the story didn't end with headlines or photographs. For Charles, this was personal. Letters from the public, some supportive, some pleading for reconciliation, arrived by the dozen. One from a school teacher in Manchester read, "You've given up peace to preserve honor. That's what makes you our king." And yet, in the quiet of Sandringham, Charles remained haunted. "This is what the crown demanded, not what a father would choose," he whispered, tracing the embossed seal on the royal decree. Across the globe, World leaders responded. President Donald Trump called it decisive, praising Charles for strength over sentiment. President Emmanuel Macron noted that the burden of monarchy requires sometimes breaking before enduring. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney emphasized unity, noting that courage and compassion must coexist. The conversation had moved beyond family drama. It was now a lesson in leadership, sacrifice, and the weight of history. Inside the palace, life continued. William oversaw new reforms for the Royal Foundation. Catherine focused on mental health and education, keeping the family grounded. Princess Anne, the silent guardian, continued her work quietly, but wept privately at her brother's exhaustion. And across the Atlantic, Harry and Meghan remained silent, regrouping, grieving, and coming to terms with the consequences of a choice that once promised freedom. In Britain, polls reflected the nation's conflicted heart. While 72% believed Charles did the right thing, nearly half wished for eventual reconciliation. Approval for the monarchy rose, but so did the sense of collective sadness. At St. George's Chapel, Catherine led a candlelit prayer service, a quiet moment of reflection for a family tested by love, duty, and history. The titles were gone. The anger had subsided, but the echoes of loss traveled across the Atlantic into a son's empty expectations and a father's quiet solitude. By dusk, the public and media alike saw a man who was both king and parent, caught between duty and heartbreak. Charles had acted not from anger, but from principle. The Sussex era had ended. The monarchy's legacy had been preserved. And yet, the humanity of the decision resonated far more than the politics. Leadership isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about doing what must be done, even when it breaks your heart. So, what do you think? Was King Charles right to act? Or should he have forgiven Harry and Meghan one last time? Could you have made the same choice? Comment below and tell us where in the world you're watching from. Because as history shows, it's not the titles that define us, it's the humanity behind them. The Sussex titles are gone, the crown endures, and the lesson remains. Love demands sacrifice, power demands restraint, and sometimes the hardest choice is the one that history will